Good evening, and welcome to Flat Earth United Kingdom. This show will primarily address the No Forests on Flat Earth video and the division that it has caused amongst a lot of flat earthers. Now, I want to get across in this hangout that regardless of your belief system, the Earth is still flat. And should people choose to use any justification, be it the Bible or massive, enormous trees, to say that the Earth is flat, they are more than entitled to do so. We should not buy into the divisionary tactics if people want to view them that way, or the pure ignorance if someone wants to view it another way about these trees, or the failure to accept the absolute blatant truth that they are massive trees. Regardless of your beliefs, we should all stand united in the fact that we've been lied to about where we live. Now, people don't do this. I've had enough grief off Ronnie, event skeptic, and I'm sure Martin's had the same sort of grief.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wholeheartedly buying this, and he's accused me of not researching it, not looking into it, and all this sort of stuff. And because I've used examples of people who have said, look, flat earthers are idiots because they are looking into this. That's not to say that I agree with that notion, it's just to say that that's the view outsiders have got as a net result. Now, if, say, Muslims used their Quran as a proof of flat earth, it would be ludicrous to assume that anyone would turn around and ridicule them because they choose to use that as a proof of flat earth for them. More power to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that we use that or it is a definitive proof of flat earth because it's in their text, but it's not to say that we will ridicule them because they use it. More power to you. It doesn't change the fact that the earth is flat. That's the ultimate point. Now I'm going to go straight over to Martin because he's, in his words, been shouting at the screen while he's been listening to these hangouts.
Yeah.
Because you know about geology.
Yeah. I studied geology. It's a fascination of mine. It always has been. I've got quarries local, which I studied the strata. It's been a fascination since childhood. So, I don't know if people understand the structure of stone and the science behind it. You know, there's no reason, there's no actual conspiratorial reason for the geologists to actually do this with the lying about the I don't do tectonic movement, by the way. I don't believe that that's happening. I don't believe that India is smashing into the Asian continent and pushing up the roof of the earth. What they say is the Tibetan plateau. I don't think that's happening at all. Something else is happening, I believe. The notion of having these trees and these giants, this guy was saying a couple of days ago, 200 years ago, in 1815, Battle of Waterloo. This is not within living memory, but it's within great-grandfather's memory, and nothing's filtered through. No, I really don't think so. I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm having my intelligence insulted with this. I don't want to be bitter or anything, but to me, it was in there and out of there, like an episode of Ancient Aliens. I know a lot of people. I've watched a few videos. People think exactly the same as me. There's three types of stone, guys. All right. There's if you understand the geology behind it, there's no reason to fake it. Okay. I don't believe this is just me, my own personal opinion. Okay, I'm not actually swaying anyone. You can believe it and enjoy whatever you want in this life, but I just don't think it should be married with the flat earth. It's not even theories, we know it's true, but if you couple it with that, it's gonna, in my opinion, it's gonna bring real problems when you try to bring it to the public. We got all the evidence, excellent evidence, no curbs, gyros on planes don't dip their noses. There's 1,000 proofs that we got that we're not on a ball. And as soon as you chuck in 60-mile-high trees and frigging giants, everything's out the window and everyone's going to laugh. No, I'm not being funny, right? You get igneous stone, okay? And you get sedimentary. Igneous is like, now this is what you've got to understand. This is silica, guys, right? If you understand the structure of basalt, silica, granite, and these stones, which come from deep down, which is why they got the density, okay? Now, I'm not sure how they come up. It happens, they say, through time. I don't believe that. This is my own personal opinion, right? Sedimentary, obviously from rock deposits, okay? And the last metamorphic is stone is pushed up through volcanic activity. As we know, Hawaiian Islands, they are growing as we speak now through volcanic activity. The islands, they grow. We know how land is produced, okay? Now, the notion of 60 malite trees, you have to imagine they're going to have critters on them. They're not going to be barren of life. So, you know, where's all of these giant critters, these giant flies that are, every tree has amber, fossilized amber, okay? There's no ancient giant bugs in these ambers I've ever seen. Oil is fossilized trees, guys. Coal is definitely trees, because when you chop it out, and it's like a quarter of a mile down in places, guys, it looks like tree. Now, all trees, right, they grow outwards this way, and they have rings, tree rings. Now, dendrochronologists will study tree rings. I look at them, I can count them and count back and find out which year had Tunguska event or Krakatoa explosion at 1903. Through tree rings, I can study that. And they grow outwards. So the notion of them growing up at 60 miles, just bear this in mind, right? I know this is their data, but you've got to use a little bit of intelligence with this, guys. Water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide and mineral salt are the 4 things the vegetation needs to grow. If trees are 60 miles high, how much water are they going to need for the entire plain full of, yeah, all right. What size of machines would be needed to cut, say, Devil's Mountain? Really, where are the machines? Is just, I'm just saying. Plants.
I mean, that's sort of reverse speculation, Martin. So, in other words, you're saying, you know, we can't disprove that, but what we can do is things that we can investigate. I mean, the first thing I said was, well, as above, so below. If it's a tree, it's going to have a great big massive root pattern. So then you look into ground penetrating radar, and at this point I'm going to hand over to Robert Shortman, who's had a look at it and what you need to do in order to ascertain what's actually below the ground. So Robert, if you can pick up from there.
Yeah. I mean, I've just had a quick look. I haven't really done any research whatsoever into it, but first of all, I think we need, you know, if you're interested in that and you want to look into it further, then first of all we need to check, well, all the research data that's already out in regards to ground penetrating radar, how far it goes down, and what type of different structure you need to aim through to get into it, because there's many different types of different surveys and different ways of doing it. That's an example. If it, you know, I'll just have a look and see if I can find it.
But Robert, you were talking about one specific method in terms of drilling down.
Yeah, so for the oil one, basically the oil will allow you to, you know, if you have to drill for oil and find these points, then basically what they use is a method of drilling a borehole first of all, and then dropping the radar down into those boreholes to get the deeper range from that. So you can't just necessarily search for oil without going down these depths to find that information.
But in terms of these locations, they're sacred ground in a lot of these instances. The chances of us actually getting to drill, say, an 8-mile borehole, and we'll get into, it might turn into a debate, we'll see how much Antonio pipes up, but in terms of how much soil that would be required to actually nourish a tree of that magnitude. So we're never going to find out. That's the bottom line. Would you agree, Robert?
I would say these sites are protected, a lot of these special interest sites. So first of all, you're not just going to be able to just go in there with a big drilling platform or these survey teams. I mean, the outside survey you could do just on the surface, and that would give you a certain level of, you know, 3D penetration where it looks into the rock and you can get a high resolution image of that. But that's only going to be limited, and you're not going to be able to really look at something in depth like that. But it would be good to try and find that out and see, you know, see what it is. Because if you looked into the side of say one of those structures, then it would certainly give you a clear indication. If you could look 15 meters horizontally into it, then that would be a way to say what the structure is a bit more, rather than just assuming it's one thing. I think we do need to look at it in, you know, many different aspects if people are interested in it, but certainly it's being balanced with looking at it and not dwelling on it and just thinking, yes, it's another piece of information of something that we're not necessarily aware of because of the way that they lay out the information to say how dinosaurs are formed and all that kind of thing. They put that in their original kind of piece at the beginning of this to say how things are formed, so we don't necessarily have to take their word for it. But if we look at the data and then get a balanced approach through that, that's the way to form a good opinion of what it is or what it isn't, and then go from there, I think.
Can you just show us an example of what ground penetrating radar would look like? And you showed us a couple of displays earlier. It doesn't necessarily obviously reflect what we would see at any of these sites, but if you can just give a visual example. And while you do that, so before the show started, we were thrashing this out for some time, and we got to the point where we were talking about the amount of soil, and Antonio's argument to this was that a tree of that size would penetrate ground. Well, I'm not going to talk for you, Antonio, you're here, so.
Yeah, all that I was saying is, it seemed that what the video maker was positing was an idea of a world that had no stone, where everything was organic, so swamp-like. In which case, those trees couldn't have grown. They would have required enough dense ground for the roots to take hold enough for the trees to not just keel over. So the other idea is that there was soil, ground, which are all minerals. When we look at these things all together, all of it is mineral. All the ground, everything under the ground, it comes down to minerals. So we have trees that are made of minerals, which is what trees in the real world are, and then you have minerals that grow different to trees. So can we have trees made of minerals that calcify, become stone or petrified? Sure, why not? Can we have trees that grow organically? Sure, why not? They're both grown from the same material. Now, how deep the roots go and how we could thermally image that, or sonar or radar, we can't really. We would have to dig down enough. Because you see, we have this situation. I'm holding my hands together. Okay, that's the plane. Let's say we get an image that shows roots here. That's fine. There's no mountain here. That's why they've been able to gather this image. Fine. Now, if there's a mountain there, they can't gather the image because there's a freaking mountain. They'd have to go to the side and try to image sideways. It's not going to work. So we can't really discover. People can go into mines that could be the roots of the trees, and they twist and turn and go all over the place. We can't really find out, at least not now. There might come a point where we can find out. We might take things like observation into account, because all science rests primarily not on experimentation, but on observation. You can have the best equipment in the world, but if you don't have a human there to observe the results, you've got nothing. So it's observation. All the phenomena that are studied with experiments, they're all based on observation, and the findings are based on observation. And the tools and equipment are just there to refine the observations, those things that can be observed. So what is the situation? We have these huge structures that look to all the world like trees, and they're petrified. And the Native Americans, speaking with Haunted House earlier today, who told me that the Native Americans of the region of Devil's Tower call it the stone tree. Okay, why are the Native Americans calling that the stone tree? Is it just because it happens to look like a tree stump, or is it because it's a tree stump and that's why it looks like that? We don't know. But as far as who cut them down, we keep thinking giants with huge tools. Like, well, hold on a second. Can't an ant fell a huge tree by virtue of having lots of colleagues also chewing away at that tree? Yes, they can. And can't termites do amazing structures? Yes, they can. Can't humans dig into the sides of mountains like they do in South southern Spain? Yes, they can, like they did in Petra. Yes, they can. So all it would take for something the size of Tabletop Mountain to be felled, if it was a petrified tree, let's say it was petrified and it had stone branches way higher up at some point, would be for lots of humans to dig into it, making homes. You know, dig into it from the side. That's it, just, you know, chip away. At one point, one was digging a tunnel and there's another guy digging a tunnel this way. And at that point, they all freaked out and ran off like termites because they realized the trees, that's it, no more integrity, it's going to go. And it goes. Could that be the case? Yes. This is the thing. Within the realm of possibilities, anything we can imagine is possible. Giants with freaking, you know, dragon bone sides, cutting them down. Sure, if it's possible. Humans drilling into it like little termites, if it's possible. This is the thing, if it's possible. But dividing and saying it's definitely this, that's where it's wrong, because you don't know that it's definitely this. There is no chance that you can know from an old text or from new modern scientific investigation that it is or that it isn't. 100% you cannot know. I lean towards they're petrified trees. There were trees that were organic, grew huge, different conditions, higher healing or dome or firmament, much higher, things being generally lighter because the electromagnetic weight is different, things having the ability to grow much larger, being able to absorb water much more easily, water to be a lot more abundant, all the conditions necessary for such huge growth. Yeah, is that possible? Yes. Can the conditions be altered so that things grow taller and bigger? Absolutely they can. Look at some of the cannabis farms around the world. They grow things. So, yes, the conditions can be altered to cause faster and bigger growth.
Well, I'm going to get Stephen Chess to give us his opinion on no trees on flat Earth or no forests on flat Earth. But I'm going to reiterate this throughout the show, which is, yes, it may, if proven correct, have massive implications. A bit like the Mandela effect. You know, it may prove to be correct and have massive implications as a result. I think that, again, my personal view, that won't be the case. That's just my personal view. But we can still unite in the fact that the Earth is flat. And to this day, we are told it is a sphere. Now, these are provable, discernible, easy to see things that we can go out and prove for ourselves. And we are. So it's nice to speculate, and we need to speculate in order to make progress in any area. But dividing because one faction of flat earthers, bearing in mind it has got flat earth in the title, one faction of flat earthers believes there were giant trees and another faction does not. You could use Mandela to make it less touchy, as that's now, 12 months ago, still lingering around like a bad smell as far as I'm concerned. But you could use the Mandela effect as a similar example and say, because there's a faction of flat earthers that believe CERN is changing how we perceive things and our memories or whatever bullshit they say, whatever their theory is, that ultimately means that the other camp should divide in their overall belief structures or their overall proof when it comes to proving out the globe. And on that same vein, because, like the example at the beginning of the show, your Muslim is using the Quran to say that the Earth is flat, doesn't mean that you throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't suddenly say, well, we must say all flat earthers are stupid because they believe in this theory that I don't go along with. It doesn't change the fact that it's flat. That's all we need to, be assured about when Jesse Spots is throwing things at the screen, because we're looking at this particular theory. It doesn't tarnish flat Earth so long as we don't divide in the process of looking into it, regardless of your beliefs at the end. So yeah, Stephen, what was your take on this whole trees debacle?
I don't think the controversy in flat Earth will ever matter, because flat Earth will overcome any of these things.
Well said. Well said. I totally agree with that. Nathan, can you hear me?
You bet.
Yeah. It's a shoe. It's a sandal. It's a shoe. It's a sandal. Guys, it doesn't matter. If people want to find division, they will find all kinds of... You're blonde. Blondes are stupid. You're dark-haired. They'll find division as much as they like. But nothing, not a really sexy heterosexual guy doing a gay dance, nothing is going to make the world start spinning. And to be honest, Nathan, I thought that you had me on here to do some dancing. I didn't realize it was going to be an actual, you know, conversation with sort of a bit of brain power.
I turned all the cameras on along the bottom because we're all laughing our heads off.
Okay. No, but it's true. You know, nothing is going to make the world start spinning, and nothing's going to make the world into a globe. So it doesn't matter. And also, we should bear this in mind. We shouldn't be afraid of any kind of investigation. Is that a mountain? Is a mountain an old tree? No investigation is out to, you know, let's look at everything. There's no reason why we shouldn't. Here comes along someone says, hey, you know what I think? I have this theory, this idea, that mountains used to be trees. Cool. Have a look at it if it interests you. If it doesn't, look at something that does interest you. But we shouldn't say, oh, don't go there because you're going to discredit. It's like, no, nothing, like Stephen just said, nothing is going to stop the flat Earth from being flat.
Yes, and I think it's actually a very, as always with Life of Brian, an excellent example. And I'm going to explain, again, anybody who hasn't watched Life of Brian. So Brian, the main character, has been appointed, without him wanting this to happen, he's been appointed as the Messiah, and he's being followed by a whole bunch of people that he doesn't want to be followed by. And as he's trying to get away from this massive crowd that have appointed him the Messiah, he loses a shoe. Now, somebody picks it up and says, the Saviour has given to us a sandal. And another man says, it's not a sandal, it's a shoe. And so it progresses. In other words, the nitty-gritty detail of the fact that it's not even the Messiah is lost on the fact that he's dropped an item of clothing that is obviously a sign from God.
I should know, I followed a few. It was Spike Milligan that said it. It was his only shot in the movie, Spike Milligan, with the sandal, when he came up and said, I know it's not the Messiah, I should know, I followed a few.
Yeah, no, wait a minute, wait. He says that, but he also says, wait. Well, they're all running off after the sandal debate.
God.
Let us pray. Oh, yea, he cometh to us, like the sea to the grave, and he's left there stood. The only kind of sensible person there. They all ran off, and he's standing there, and he's left there to flex his hands, you know, and he just walks off screen. Yes, it's a brilliant film. I love that film, but it's a sandal.
But there's plenty of people that have contacted me in this, while there are no Forests on Flat Earth things. It's only been a week, 10 days tops since this came out. But plenty of people that have contacted me and said, like Martin, I've been screaming. I might as well use you as an example. You're sat there, Martin, but saying I've been screaming at the screen. You know, I'm so glad of your skepticism. And in reality, I've been behaving far more skeptical than I actually am. I'm more akin to how Robert Shortman is. You know, Martin, no offence, you're quite anti, and obviously Antonio is quite pro. But there's no love lost between the two of you, absolutely none. And it, as we keep saying, it doesn't change the fact the Earth is flat. But Robert is, you know, much more on the fence, looking at it, hasn't written it off, hasn't decided to buy into it, just doing research. And that's kind of what it's all about. And when we go on about how flat Earth, literally flat Earth, has opened our mind to look at other things and be more open-minded, and in this instance for me be more sceptical to what we're being told by authorities or a videographer in this instance, it's a good example of that. It's a good example that we do look into this stuff. As a result, we're not just casting it under the carpet. None of us here have written it off, including Martin. Am I right?
I haven't. Yeah, but look, when I visualise the flat Earth, everything starts to fall into place and make sense. But with their theory, this Russian theory, as I'm thinking about it, it just falls apart. I think about the oxygen production. I think, okay, increase CO2 in the air. Maybe if you go with the globe model, they would say volcanicity at that time, causing more CO2 in the air, plants grow bigger. I know they say that in their model, so things did grow bigger. I know that, not that big. The oxygen, if to the 60-mile high forests wouldn't be able to sustain life. If the oxygen would be so high, everyone would be high as a kite if there was people. You know, there's so many, every time I dig into it with my brain, it falls apart. I do not get that with Flat Earth. Everything I dig into is, oh yeah, of course, I look at the bullshit NASA. It's just a cartoon fucking movie studio. It's bullshit. Everything they come out with is bullshit. I know there's no curve. We all know there's no curve. The division over this guy's theory. Now, I should have chucked something out. I should have made something fucking up. I should have said, well, the termites is excellent, by the way. I think that might be a reality. But there's so many theories you can just chuck out there and people will bite onto. That's my worry. Now, Flat Earth is a reality. We know it's a reality. That should be our priority. It's busting their ass before they bust ass.
The mountains were built by the insectoids. We used to be like the termites, and we built the mountains. It's just nonsense. I can throw it out there.
It does nothing. Out of the field of quantum possibility, nothing falls into place. To me, it's a non-reality. That's just personal. My experience in reality, I'm afraid. It's bullshit to me. Sorry. I will not dig into it because I've studied geology since I was a child, and there's no reason to fake it. The bending of that, right? If there was like time over the millions of years where they say lava deposit.
Hold on, Martin, you always do this. Hold it to the screen, keep it there still, say something.
Right, now that's in Cornwall in England, right? Now it's a very famous fold. You can see this in Cornwall, okay? And what's happening there? It's 2 layers of what they say is mantle, layered over completely. Now, I looked at that today and I thought, well, could that be a branch of a tree fossilized into that shape? Could that be what's going on? But, you know, I got problems with tree rings exist and the way trees grow, and they don't grow this way. So that's not a reality. What makes bending strata? You know, it's a very intriguing fucking phenomenon if you don't believe in plate tectonics. There's a lot to think about with geology, guys. I've been thinking about it a lot since the Flat Earth. As you can see, I've been reading about it. So when that came along, I was like alarmed. I'm sorry, I was alarmed because I thought it was dangerous. Why did I think it was dangerous? Because I thought, if everyone jumps on board with this, I've had people saying to me, please get into it, Matt. Can you just pretend? Fucking no. I've got my convictions. My conviction is Flat Earth. Flat Earth British. We've got to get this out there. Bust their balls, guys. And division is bullshit. Think about it. Think about it.
I mean, sorry to say this, but to me, the heliocentric system is the biggest lie in mankind's history.
Terrible.
So to speculate about other stuff and promote that and push it when we should just be investigating it is wrong, especially when we can prove this stuff. You know, there is no two ways about the bullshit surrounding the globe. The lies, just, you know, if we go back to basics in Flat Earth, the picture of the globe is horseshit. We have no pictures. This is an outrage. Now, that could be me on my pedestal saying we should only look at it, and then I sound like a 9/11 truther. And nothing's further from the truth. We're looking at it. We're discussing this truthing right now. Doesn't mean we're writing anything off. In fact, quite the reverse. We're looking at it as a result of realizing we've been lied to. So we have to go down some rabbit holes. We're going to go down things that turn out to be incorrect. But to see the reaction, to have people come up to me a day after the video comes out and say, this is fact, you go, whoa, what have you done? What study have you done? The person who's the most studied on this panel is the most skeptical here, and that's Martin.
Zero reason for geologists to fake this, guys. If you think about it deep enough, there's absolutely no reason. Why would that enslave humanity? Why would that promote the fucking gender that they got in mind for us? You think about what they got in mind. It's happening. It's unfolding as we speak out there, and you're thinking about trees. People want to just have a little think, really.
Well, one second. Let me just counter that argument. Could they come to us, say, 200 years ago? Let's say 200 years ago they found that these mountains used to be trees. Okay, and they take that to the Vatican, and they say, hey guys, look, these huge mountains used to be trees. And the Vatican goes, that's very interesting. It confirms the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, you know, it confirms these things in the Bible. And then you have the scientists in the Vatican saying, hold on a second, if you're going to say these trees were huge, then people are going to say, well, wouldn't they have broken with the wind created by the spinning globe? It doesn't really work. So they would have to, you know, maybe there was a debate and they said, okay, forget the tree stuff, just drop it. And now along come flat earthers who are pretty open-minded. The whole reason any of us are even thinking about this in the first place, and it's totally valid for people to say, I couldn't care less, I'm not looking into it. I'm pretty sure there's going to be people going, I want to look into this. I've got equipment, I've got climbing skills, I'm going to look into this. And when they do, they'll bring out their findings, because all the guy's done is posited a question. Could mountains be trees? If he just made that into a video where he said, hey guys, could mountains be trees? That would be a 5-second video. Nobody would be saying anything. But he's gone further into it. So let people look into it and let people not look into it. Let people do whatever it is that drives them. If it turns out that they were trees, all it means is we have to adjust our idea of the history of the plane we live in. That's all. The conditions. We just have to shift those ideas. And the fact that there is growth, because we have this anti-evolution thing, is because we've had the term evolution kind of hijacked into this species regression thing. It's like, hold on a second, you get a seed and it becomes a tree. That seed has morphed. It has mutated from tree shape, from seed to tree. It has evolved from seed to tree. It's a different way of saying the same thing. It doesn't mean that that tree
that's growing,
is going to become
evolving. Evolving would be change from one state to another, as opposed to follow the same pattern of growth that particular species of plant has always followed. So to evolve would be for that plant to grow blue leaves instead of red because of its environment. That would be an evolution.
Yes, so if we look at that, we can then look at how trees in the real world actually communicate. So you have the trees in the savannah, which release a chemical that makes their leaves bitter or unpalatable for giraffes. So giraffes have figured out that they have to eat from downwind. You know, trees reacting to stimuli from the environment.
This was another big concern for me. Sorry to keep talking over you, Antonio. I'm really sorry. This was another big concern of mine when I saw the video, and it seems to be repeating over and over again with dinosaurs and, in this case, evolution. So it seems to nicely lead you. I'm not sure if it's deliberate by the author, if it's just by the nature of our general, the public, or the Western public's general heliocentric entanglements, but the story leads nicely to using the accepted rhetoric proof when it comes to evolution. You find yourself going along these paths every time.
Yes, but
great.
This is what I'm trying to get to. That just because evolution, the term, has been hijacked or almost exclusively used to talk about something that's gibberish, so we have terms in which it can be used legitimately, changing from one state to another. A seed changing from being seed to being a thing with branches and trees that processes light. That's evolved from seed to that. That it's its natural process. That's what evolution guys say. Explanations and the excuses given away. We evolve from something that doesn't exist on this plane to sperm and ovum and a baby that then grows huge. That's what we do naturally. We mutate, we evolve, and we've had the term mutation and evolution kind of meshed together to say changing from one species to another. That's the lie. But that things change and morph, That happens all the time, continuously. A tree used to have one branch. Now it's got 3. There you go. Now it's changed its form. We have, I think, a haunted house came in and dropped out again.
Yeah, it's just joined us again. Hey, are you there, Jonathan? Can you hear us?
Hey, what's up, Nathan?
Oh, good. Can you turn your phone?
Perfect.
There you are.
There we go. That's perfect.
What's up, guys?
What's up? Your mic is a little quiet. Can you turn it up?
I'll tell you what, don't worry. So what's your take on this, Jonathan? Where do you stand on the mountains are trees?
Well, in terms of it dividing anything, I don't think it's going to divide anything. I think the idea is such a, it's such a crazy idea. A lot of people don't like it. They don't like it, and they don't like the fact that a lot of people were blown away by it. So there's like some resentment being put out there. I see a lot of bitterness because everyone kind of was taken by this movie. I was taken by. I thought it was. I invite any new ideas that are extreme like this, because what the guy's proposing is pretty extreme. That whatever was here before us isn't anything like it is now, and that's what I'm seeing. A lot of hate. But as for the Devil's Tower being more than what they say it is, I think so, absolutely. Because right away it doesn't make sense that it's rock to have that shape, and I think it's going to take because nobody has looked into the ground penetrating radar. And another thing with that technology, you don't really see much. You just see the texture. If it's solid, it bounces back.
We're losing Jonathan a little bit. I'm hoping in between, Robert, if you can bring up an example of ground radar just to show the viewers.
Yeah, I will do. I'll just bring it on and I'll start screen sharing now. Bring that up. Okay.
The camera's still on you, Jonathan. We're still with you if you want to continue that thought.
Ground penetrating radar.
Sure.
Is not really going to show us that much, just because of the density of the ground below it, and it reads out. It comes back to you in the form of like wavelength.
That's correct.
I'm not sure if you were asking before, Nathan. What do you like? You wanted like a visual of what it looks like.
No, I'm just getting your opinion where you stand on it in general. I was just trying to give you that point because that was where you ended before we lost your mic. That was all.
Oh yeah, I think it's absolutely possible that Devil's Tower could have been a tree, and it also lends itself to what that tree went to. And there's a lot of different kind of trees. There's also like if you look at Jack and the Beanstalk, that's a multi-columnal plant, like ivy or like the way that kind of plant grows. Like it's a lot of stalks, not necessarily tree bark. And that's what that looks like, the way it's got all those columns up the side.
Yeah, but I have a problem with Jack and the Beanstalk because if it was that big, how did he cut it down so quickly?
It could have been taken away.
We should all be laughing. But yeah,
it could have fallen.
No, but the truth is, like, I really think this, okay, I could have never guessed, growing up and living my life, that I would ever get to a point where I realized the world is flat. That's a paradigm breaker. Now we all know the world is flat. If we think that we're going to live the rest of our lives without paradigms being broken, what are we doing? We've just learned through experience that our paradigms can be broken to reveal something that is true. What are we doing thinking that from now on everything's going to be kind of a natural progression that doesn't shift any paradigms. No, there's likely to be stuff that does break paradigms, that does shift perspective massively. There is likely to be this. Could it be these trees? I think, yeah, I can't figure it out. I can visualize various different things. The how and these things is a paradigm shift, but I don't know that they were. So I would first have to figure out a way of finding out that they were indeed trees. They look like it. Now, cross sections and comparison with trees, and then comparison with petrified trees, that would give me closer to it. But let's say I personally arrive at the conclusion that they were. It's still a paradigm shift. So, in a nutshell, if we think that we're going to continue life without paradigm shifts, we're kidding ourselves.
But isn't it a bit of a waste of effort when, let's say it proves out and we say, wow, it really was a tree and they cut it down and stole the resources. We're spending time petitioning to dig a great big borehole and sink a great big radar down to get really accurate results of whether or not it's a tree. Meanwhile, they are strip mining the planet. They are fracking. You know, they're doing all this stuff anyway. You know, we can watch it happen right now. Same as flat Earth. We can see it's flat. And we can turn on the TV and see that they lie through their back teeth all day long about globe nonsense and planets and Juno and all this nonsense. I mean, I know GeoShift has released a video today about the Mars, was it Mars 1, being a total fraud.
Yeah, he busted them. They sent him a link to say that it was just it was a fake and they're not going to do it anymore. Brilliant, he is. Brilliant.
Yeah, whichever of the candidates was there pumping the most money into it would be the one that got the most points. It was a nonsense.
And let's face it, this is what's happening. The one with the most money gets to get ripped off the most because they're not going to be spending any time on Mars. So it's like, oh my God, we're looking for somebody rich and stupid. So let's put something out for the rich and stupid, a trip to Mars. I've asked Geo to put my name down when he starts selling the trips to the sun. I want a deep tan, okay? So I'm number one. So I get extra points for being number one, just to let anybody else know.
Yeah, this is stuff that we're talking about that's you know, we're descending into farce, but a trip to the sun, you know, as stupid as that sounds, somebody asked me today, you know, how do I measure it? And I sent them a link to Smokescreen Design's response to Red's rhetoric versus Jeranism. You know, it's so convoluted with them explaining the maths based on a flat Earth versus the maths based on a spherical Earth. But it didn't really answer the person or the commenter's question. You know, how do we measure where the sun is? And, you know, after all the sun tracking we did, would you say you could give a really accurate answer to that question?
Right now? Nope. We're going to have to do it again on the equinox, Nathan.
I'm not saying it so we plug the show. I'm saying in a very literal way, there are fundamentally unanswered questions about where we live that we are told on a daily basis that there's nothing to see here. We know it's 93 or is it 96 or whatever million miles away. You know, nothing to see here. They still continue to tell us this. Now, the tree thing may or may not pan out. Mandela effect may or may not pan out. You know, I've turned my back on that, like I advise, you know, people to turn their back on the media in general. And I got that tip from Thomas Sheridan talking about psychopaths, and he calls this the psychopathic control grid, the network that these power elites use to brainwash us. And we don't have to throw stones at them. We don't have to go to their house and tell them, look, you're indoctrinating the people. We can literally just turn our backs on it. And the same can be said about this, to stop division. I know we're all in, you know, united agreement that it's not going to cause any, but I still see Jesse Spots throwing his dummy out the pram over it and saying, how dare Jaron look into this subject when we've got Neil deGrasse Tyson on the ropes? And in many ways, I agree with him. You know, we are still being lied to by those people, and we can still continue to put the pressure on the power elites who lie to us for a reason, and we can extrapolate out those reasons and theorize about more land, things that may genuinely benefit us. If we discover that they perpetrated a horrible crime against a tree, however long ago, that doesn't necessarily get us anywhere. Whereas flat Earth, the potential for more land, the potential to discover where we actually live, create a real map, these things are things that we can actually do and achieve, and there's a very good reason for that particular lie. It may be they wanted resources back when they cut down the hypothetical tree that we're talking about, or trees. But that may or may not be the case, and it may or may not affect us. With flat Earth and the heliocentric lie, it does most definitely affect us. And it affects every other sheeple that doesn't even realise there's a debate going on about the shape of the Earth. And we're in the camp that says it's flat, obviously and observably.
Yes, that's what I say. But also the plug to doing the sun tracking again, it wasn't really just to plug it. I was just doing a multi-layered thing. I was plugging it, and second I was saying we do need to do this again, and we are going to do this again. This time we're going to be compiling the data as we go along, because some people have complained that the data's not available. Everything that anybody would be taking data from is there. I would be taking data from the videos, from all the Hangouts, one after the other. I did about half of it. It's freaking very tedious and takes a lot of time. So next time, each person hosting will have a sheet on which they will put the data as and when. So when the very last second ends, we will have all of the data ready and going. It's, you know, we have teething problems. You know, we improve with practice, and that's what we're doing. So for the equinox, we will be doing it again. We will have the data ready immediately after, and we will, you know, I'll take a screenshot of my data and put it up there. I'm not going to sit there writing it, but I'm just saying, if anybody wants to tabulate the data from the one that we did before, go ahead and do it. You know, feel free. Just pad and paper, just go for it. But that will help us determine various things about the Earth we live on. That's why we're doing it. We want to see, where are the sunsets and sunrises, how far away are things, how fast is the sun moving, how is it moving, what trajectory is it taking. These are things that we're establishing with things like tracking the sun on the flat Earth.
Yes, spot on. I mean,
yes, Jonathan. Sorry, Nathan. Jonathan's dying to jump in. You're muted, by the way, Jonathan. And now we're going to lose him.
Is he losing his connection?
You need to unmute. Don't crash. We can see that you're looking at the phone and not the road.
For some reason, I can't unmute him. Well, while Jonathan has a look for the mute button. Oh, there we go.
This has got to be the most anxious thing I've seen in a long time. Somebody driving trying to unmute themselves. David Weiss does this all the time. It makes me freaking anxious.
Maybe we can hear from Stephen while you're figuring that out, Jonathan.
Jonathan, drop out and come back in. Okay, cool.
There's normally a little button for me to unmute anybody, but it's completely blanked out. I don't know why, if there was an issue there. Anyway, we've not heard much from you, Stephen, apart from the most pertinent point of the whole show.
Well, yeah, I've been looking into this subject, of course, and I spend a lot of time in forests, a lot of time around trees. I cut down a lot of dead trees. I was told to cut down a living tree today, and I just couldn't do it. You know, but other than that, I'm open to the subject, but I don't see too much hard evidence.
Personally, I think it's something that's going to take a while for any kind of demonstrable thing other than what we've had already to come out, because I think it will take a while for people to organise trips, to do the analysis, and to render something from it to share with others. So I'm glad the question was asked. Whatever the result, I'm happy the question was asked. Jonathan, you're back with us.
Okay. Yeah, it's the icon at the bottom. There's no button. But anyway, what I was going to say was, in terms of paradigm shifts, we were all forced to live with and how society changed afterwards. We didn't have a choice in that. We were forced to live with the government and what they decided they wanted to do. Like Operation Atlas, where they check your they check your vehicle at every stop that enters Manhattan, and every other change that came about from it. Like, no, they didn't ask us about that. They forced a new way of life on us. And what you were saying, Antonio, in terms of we need paradigm shifts, we do. And that was one, I guess, we didn't need, obviously, but we're all forced to live with it. So a positive paradigm shift definitely can't hurt. Which I think would be people getting, for mainstream coverage all of a sudden of the flat Earth information. You know, real people started to wake up like on a mass scale. I don't think it would be pandemonium or chaos or anything like that. What is that going to do? You know, I think it could only be people turning their head towards Washington and going, "What the fuck? You know, we want some answers." You know what I mean?
You're on mute.
You're breaking down. I can hardly hear. Nathan,
yes.
You need a mod in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just about to kick that fake Antonio out.
Yeah. Or you can make me mod, or Martin, or Robert, anybody, any of us. But for some reason, I'm not mod on your chat.
I don't know why that is. Yeah, but if you can continue chatting amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Okay,
or
so
we can have total silence. That's also good.
Paradigm shift. Jonathan, to pick up on paradigm shifts. Paradigm shifts are what people had who, when they were living on a flat Earth, and suddenly they realized it was not flat, it was round and spinning. They had a paradigm shift back then. It was a wrong turn for them. So now we've had a paradigm shift back to the flat Earth, where we understand that you can have big paradigm shifts that are not natural. So it's not like we're going around to schools or governments forcing or trying to force people to accept that the world is flat, like the Roman Catholic Church did with the globe. No, it's like, it's flat. Go and find out for yourself. So right now what we have is a paradigm shift that's really gentle and mellow, because the one that took us onto the globe came at the point of a sword. And anybody who thinks that it didn't, they need to kind of try and figure out how things worked back then. And you'll see that, yes, it came at the point of a sword. So this is not at the point of a sword. This is a totally free thing. People want to look into it, brilliant. People want to not look into it, totally fine. It's your world too. You can live under the illusion that Gandalf is going to bestow you with special abilities, like me, or that it's somebody else that's going to do that. So it's entirely up to you.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson has the nerve to say that we're going to resort to like barbaric, you know, the day, ancient times where people didn't know any better. And what I say to that is, oh, you mean those guys who built the pyramid?
Yes, those guys, the guys that didn't have banks. The guys who didn't have banks and didn't vote for representatives, those guys. Yeah, that's who we're going to de-evolve to barter, to, yeah, I'm sure. So it's fear-mongering. Here's a paradigm shift for the United States. Anybody in the United States listening to this, here's a paradigm shift for you. There's going to be no catastrophe, no New World Order takeover of the world. Oh, there you are. There's some natural rocks. So
Yeah,
there's going to be no end of the world, guys. There's a paradigm shift. There's going to be no end of the world. Let's look at where the FEMA camps are. Let's see whether they're anywhere near places where large numbers of people would require evacuation and housing in case of a natural catastrophe. Because after Katrina, everybody was complaining, why didn't you have something ready? Now they get something ready, and everybody's like, oi, what are you doing getting those things ready? Say, hello, you know.
I'm surprised people haven't wrapped their heads around how Katrina was forced.
You're so quiet, it's really quiet.
I'm surprised people can't wrap their heads around the fact that Katrina was forced.
Yes, oh yes, and the levees were broken on purpose, and the police officers committed suicide afterwards because they realized that they'd been hoodwinked, that the water that was sent there back from Mexico as free gifts was turned back. All of that, it was a farce. It was a complete farce. I'm trying to remember what it was that it distracted from, because I'm pretty sure that just before that, there was something big in the media. I just can't remember what.
There was.
Just like 9/11 distracted from the 11 or 13 trillion that was missing from the Pentagon.
And the hurricane.
Uh-huh.
That we were supposed to get that day.
The hurricane we were supposed to get on what day?
9/11.
9/11.
Right.
2001. We were supposed to get like a category 4 or something like that.
Yes, I think we just about made out what you said.
What when I said Katrina was forced, I think that they sent that wave. You know, they said that it was a plate underwater that kind of like broke and flung upwards, like the ground gave, and all this earth shot upwards and sent a wave, sent the water going up and then forward. I mean, that's the diagram I saw. But I don't think so. I think it was probably their weather manufacturing. HARP. That sent it to Katrina.
Sure. I mean, one of the things, while we're going off topic, and that's absolutely fine, we can talk about pretty much whatever we like. The main thing I wanted to achieve on this particular hangout was to sort of stop any division that this tree thing may cause amongst people that are just trying to explain the simple notion that we live on a flat plane and not on a spinning globe. And Jesse Spots, or Event Skeptic, if you're listening to this, I hope you sort of take on board what I'm about to say, which is that for anybody that just decides they don't want to buy into another person's reason for seeing that the Earth is flat, you don't have to. You don't have to watch Jesse Spots. I periodically subscribe and unsubscribe to Jesse depending on what frame of mind I'm in, because I don't want to row with the guy. So it's easy, like with the media, to turn your back on those people rather than infighting, which is essentially what, if it was a psyop, and I'm not suggesting that it is, that would be the main objective, to get people to just fight amongst themselves, debating that point, rather than exposing the very real truth that the Earth is flat. Whether or not that person uses a tree as proof or a text that's ancient as proof is irrelevant. It is flat, and I'm going to say that throughout this whole show.
Let's interject a second, please. This division, can you imagine what we could achieve if we just all stick together? Really, if we just, alright, the trees is great, it's a nice idea, but we just put that on the back burner, concentrate on the, we were gaining ground. I thought we were really getting somewhere, the sun tracking, we were doing our old science, we were getting it done. And they didn't like that. They didn't like that one bit. So this thing just comes along. I'm not saying it's a psyop either, but it's just this Russian dude. I watched him on Lottie and Lawrence's show the other night, and the stuff he was coming out with was driving me nuts, because he was explaining St. Petersburg. No, I know the history of fucking St. Petersburg, built by Peter the Great in 1720 on bones of dead people. You know, St. Petersburg's built the necropolis you can visit now. It's all the foundations of skeletons piled up over time, and you know, I know the history of this place like the back of my hand, and the way he was explaining. I know he's a Russian, but it just so contradicts. I'm not saying the history books are right. I know they're wrong. I know it's all bullshit. But from my own experience, because being to Russia, you know, not talking from, you know, I know how corrupt the country is. When I went there in communist days, it was quite alarming. So, you know, my captain, I paid $1,000 and I crate the black label Jack Daniels and loads of facts just to get my name out of their minds, because it's like, where's this guy from? What's that name? Well, his father's Estonian. Right, Estonian. Well, that's one of our countries. What's he doing? So they're thinking, because my father's a dissident. He basically political asylum. He left the fucking country, and they threatened him. They say, we're going to kill your family if you don't come back. But he didn't go back. They didn't kill his family, thank God. My grandparents and such. But I haven't got a great love for the Russians. It's just a personal thing. I'm sorry. They're just so persecuting my family. My father fought 3 years in the trenches with these people. It was terrible, terrible what they were doing. And my uncle, Oscar, got killed. So I've got this in me. So I'm sorry. I just can't go with it. It's medium-sized personal thing. And it's just the division, guys. It's just got to stop. It's based on love. We're on a spiritual journey here. We've had a massive paradigm awakening. This is fucking real, right? And just think what we can achieve and what the real goal is. Let's just focus on the goal, the intent. Make it the intent and fucking do it. Because everyone's all over the place, all lost. It's wilderness of bullshit. And just focus, guys. Focus. Sorry, gotta say it. I just gotta say it as I think it. I can't hide my feelings.
Well, what
say it as my mind thinks it.
Your chance, Martin, to say what was it that you were objecting to? You know, go through it point by point. Point out why you thought it was nonsense.
Okay, I study geology, and you know, there's the panel the other night on David Weiss's show. David asked, "Well, does anyone know how rocks are formed?" And everyone on the panel just went like tumbleweed blew through. I'm like, fucking hell, don't even know that. Like that just kills it straight away. You know, there's only 3 methods of stone making. It's absolutely nothing to do with fucking what this guy is saying, and there's no reason for geologists to bullshit. No, my only problem with the geological record, why I study it, is because of the time aspect, eons of time, because I don't believe in evolution. So I've been trying to piece together exactly what's going on, and what's going on is they're sending us that fucking way when we're really going that way. It's a complete diversion, guys. I can promise you, trust Martin on this, okay? My heart tells me so. I just know. Trust me on this, okay? Stick together, guys, and focus on the goal and division, please.
By saying it's that, though, Martin, that causes division. This is the point.
Look, I'm just being honest, right? Look, the geological record and how it works, like just study it. Just look into the geological record and work out for yourself why the hell that would be light about. Why? Sedimentary rocks brought up from. Look at fucking Hawaii, how it's produced. It's an island that's growing. Think about it, guys. Now, okay, they're saying the entire plain is filled with giant trees and forests. Okay, the people are surmising that the roots rotted away and left huge cavernous tunnels, which indeed exist. So you think, oh Christ, well that could be a reality there, you know. All of these underground places, anomalous underground, which I've got a book on. So yeah, and these caves. So I'm thinking, oh well, but that's the only link I can think of. There's nothing else that will drive me towards this theory. I'm leaving it. It's just personal. I'm sorry. No offense to anybody in the FE. I love them all, but it's just this is how I feel that the flat Earth is priority. We've got to do this, guys. We've got to get on with it.
Robert, you've been beavering away there. Have you uncovered anything, unearthed any roots?
You mean with my studies of this theory? Yeah, I've studied giants. I got actually about 4 or 5 books on giants because I got like all books on, you know, then explained them phenomena, and I made a video on the Cardiff giant, and basically it was a fake. But you know, this guy like was absolutely raking it in, like, you know, over a period of time. People believing that this was a giant. Now, this was a fake that went on for many years and was quite famous. Now, this is in 1890 up until about 1903, so it was a period, quite a period. This guy is surmising that only 90 years before then, the giants were warring, this is what he said last night, guys, with nuclear weapons, nuclear fission, when the horse was the transport of the day. The Industrial Revolution only happened a century before that, and this is a reality, guys, and I've got the evidence for the Industrial Revolution right here in Cardiff. It's the reality. I'm sorry, guys, it's just that there's nothing to tie it in with anything to do with flat Earth. It's just nonsense. I'm sorry.
Fair enough, Martin. What about you, Robert? What have you unearthed in the meantime?
I'm still going to keep going through the vast amount of PDF documents that are out there, and then look, if I find something interesting, I'll come up with it and say, look, this is really interesting, or no, I kind of agree with Martin, or I kind of agree with the other perspective of it. And yeah, once I find out the information, then I'll make my decision and then say it when I see it.
Hey guys, Nathan. I've invited Erin Mitsumoto, otherwise known as Joey Rocha from Hawaii. He's tried to join, and it's telling him that he's not authorized to join this call. I don't know what could be causing that. Do you know, Nathan?
No idea. I'll post the link to you again in the side chat if you want to use that, just in case your link's wrong or something.
Okay. So Joey, if you're hearing this, you'll have a link again in Facebook in a minute.
Yeah. What about you, Stephen? Have you had any further thoughts? Anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was just looking at something, if I could figure out this screen share business.
And the second icon down on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I'm clicking on it. Doesn't seem to be doing anything.
What is it that you found exactly? If you can just describe it,
no
if you're share it.
It was just a comment that Ronnie left. He said that he's doing better, you know. He said he chilled out a little bit.
Good. Good.
Basically.
Here's another thing I wanted to say about unity. Yesterday I went to, it was either Flat Earth Debate, I think it was Flat Earth Debate, or Free Chat, I don't recall. Anyway, there were a group of Globalings and Jeff Stewart. Okay, now there's no love lost between Jeff Stewart and me, but I could hear what he was saying was true. What the Globalings were doing was the same thing they always do. So I put a link in the chat to the Van Allen radiation belt, because the discussion at the time was about how the Himawari 8 satellite sends a signal, takes a photograph of the Earth and the Moon from 1 million miles away, and manages to get that radio signal right through the Van Allen radiation belt, which is basically a jammer, a frequency jammer. We have things in the real world like jammers for radio frequency. I have one. You can have it in your car. It's handy if you want to make sure that the police officer talking to you knows that he is, for the time whilst he's talking to you, completely on his own. He can't send any message back and forth to the station, can't receive any message back and forth. Neither can you. But you can tell the guy, you can say, hey, can you just check your radio and make sure that it's dead? And it puts you on a balanced footing. It's one human to another human, not one human linked to us that can be there within seconds, okay? So we have jammers. What these do is they saturate the area with radio frequency of all the different bandwidths that they can jam, okay? That's it, just everything saturates the area, nothing can make its way through. Now the Van Allen radiation belt is the same thing, only apparently natural. And we're supposed to think that information is arriving from beyond the Van Allen radiation belts through to the Earth. It's a gibberish. So what I'm saying is, although Jeff is not my closest friend and ally, he's still a flat earther. So I was trying to help him. And what we should do is try to help other flat earthers rather than try to criticize them for how sexily they dance or how sexy they are when they're doing a gay voice, or I'm just going to carry on with all kinds of stuff about me and how sexy I am when I'm being gay. So I'm going to just carry on. No, what I'm saying is, when somebody, a flat earther, is engaged with anything, if you can help, help. Don't see people as enemies all the time. That's it.
This is it. This is why Stephen was referencing Ronnie or Event Skeptic, because immediately Ronnie, and rightly so, has said unsubbed. But he's also said you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And frankly, when he said unsubbed, I thought, good on you. If you disagree with anything I'm saying, just turn your back on me. You don't have to fall out or cause a rift because you don't agree. It's the same as I was saying earlier with Jesse Spots. When I don't agree, I unsub, and then he'll do something like he did today or yesterday, whenever he released that video, where he's saying, "Look, we've got the astrophysicists on the ropes." That's much, much more important than anything else. Forget that I've got outrageous theories. This is me speaking as Jesse Spots. He's saying I'm kind of the outcast because some of the theories I come up with. But why lose track of the progress we've made? Why lose track of the points that we can hold these people to account on when they've lied through their back teeth to us? And on those occasions, I saw it and went, you were right on, Jesse, brilliant, subscribe to him immediately. I thought, wonderful. It's nice to see that sort of material. I mean, no doubt that he'll say something in the next few weeks or months or whenever that I'll think, I don't agree with that. I don't want to get into an argument. I'll just unsubscribe, and that'll be it. And Ronnie did exactly that. He said, look, I don't agree with you. His point was kind of, I'm going to defend myself and say he was wrong, because he assumed I had taken the same stand as Thomas Sheridan, which I hadn't. I was pointing out that Thomas Sheridan, the outsider to Flat Earth, sees the connection between no forests on Flat Earth. I'm going to say it as the title says it because it's a farce. No forests on Flat Earth ties the idea that there are no forests on Flat Earth, and it's Flat Earth in the title. But he, as an outsider, has immediately said, we're all idiots, and so is the Flat Earth theory, because look at this other stupid theory. Now, that's not me saying that I think the theory's stupid. I agree, I disagree. That's just the outside view. That's fact. So it's one of those. If you disagree, feel free to wander off. I'm not saying you shouldn't disagree with me in the comments or debate me or whatever else either, but I'm just saying that by saying that group of flat earthers are morons because they refer to a religious text as their proof of flat earth, it makes no difference. The earth is still flat, we're still not spinning, and so on and so forth. I can see you nodding away there, Martin. Did you want to add something to that?
Martin?
Indeed, I was just moderating, sorry. I was watching like a horse. Bloody carnage in there.
You were nodding at the chat.
Well, I'm just modding in there. It's carnage, Nathan. I agree 100%, Nathan, with you. I really do. I just go in my heart. This is for me. For me, the flat Earth is a spiritual journey. I believe we're all going through an experience here, and I believe people are just getting confused. Now, my worry is, and I just got to be honest, is when they check a theory like this in, some Russian dude, from nowhere, we don't follow him. He even says on the video planet over and over. It doesn't even sound like he's a flat earther. And I listened to him last night, and I don't think he is. It's just, why is everyone so hooked on it? What is, for me, it's missed. Whatever's happened, if there's a subliminal gone in or he done something, whatever's happened is missed on me. It must be, maybe I'm oblivious, maybe I'm immune. But I'm telling you now, it's just me, I'm sorry, I don't believe it's a reality. I believe that we should just focus on the flat earth, because it's just, we were getting somewhere, but we know it's flat. We've got all the evidence, there's no curve, they're bullshit. We don't need to worry about that, okay? What we need to worry about is this shit coming in all the time and messing it up. Look, we're muddled. And the division, can you all see the division? I've had so much shit this week, it's fucking unbelievable. Because I don't do the trees, people just, it's just got to stop, guys. We've got to stick together. Sorry. I'm muddled.
Just muted Antonio, I don't know. We'll figure that out in a moment. We've got Joey. How you doing, Joey Rocha? I've not heard from you yet.
Good. Yeah, good, everybody. I'm just listening in. I saw Patricia Steer over there on the side. Hey, Patricia. I'm just listening tonight.
Yeah, good, awesome. Love you guys.
Good to see you, Joey. I'm glad
Yeah,
I'm glad it worked at the end. You know,
Yeah.
persistent phase. Yeah. I thought it was cool for you to come on because you're in Hawaii, which was formed naturally from kind of reactions, as far as I know. So it's good to have somebody like you on. So
yeah,
cool.
you guys, if you ever go to the Big Island, you can see it growing right in front of your eyes. It's the longest active volcano, and if you're there for a week, the island's grown like about a foot, or maybe it's more. It's pretty amazing.
You have a little colony off the coast of Africa called the Canary Isles, which is kind of run by the Spanish. Same thing. That was made by volcanic reactions. So yeah, that volcanic reactions caused land masses. Totally. Doesn't preclude that there could be also big trees. Who knows? But at least, you know, let the person that's interested look into it. Let the person that isn't not look into it. But let's not have the person who's not interested in it try to stop the person that is from looking into it. Truth fears no investigation, guys.
Thank you very much. That's you guys are all saying it perfectly. I mean, the bottom line is to say that we can only concentrate. We can do multiple things. People can play the violin, speak 20 different languages, 20 different. I mean, we're not watching TV as flat earthers. So if somebody wants to go on to maybe a tree was a mountain, that's cool. It looks kind of like it could have been, you know. So let them look into it. But I agree with what Martin was saying about, you know, keep focused though. You know, just that's fine. Everything is fine. But the real bottom line is we never went to the moon. The Earth is flat. NASA's lying, and you know, all this other stuff. It's human nature, I think, for us to just, you know, that's how we got to where we are. You know, to keep on asking questions.
That's right. That's right. I don't know if anybody's seen. Not only did NASA announce that they were pulling their live feed from the ISS, but Jaren has just made a new video, Jarenism, on the Jarenism channel. It's becoming so incredibly blatantly propaganda. It's not even trying to seem bona fide. You have this complete CGI gibberish, and then you have this really coarse, crappy footage of astronauts doing nothing on a spacewalk. Literally nothing.
He does a nice little skit, doesn't he, where he basically has them talking about the fact that one of them's holding a sword and doing nothing. But yeah, we've got a new guest who's just joined us. How you doing, my friend?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Brett.
Hey, what's up, brother Brett?
How you doing, Brett? I think Stephen's invited you on, so I don't know if Stephen wants to do a little quick introduction.
Hey, it's my friend Brett. Been talking to him on Facebook for over a year, you know. How you doing, man?
How's it going, Stephen?
Chilling.
Cool. Stephen, if you don't mind me asking, is this the guy you told me about just recently?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, nice to meet you, man.
Stephen, if you can lead the audience into why you've invited.
Well, firstly, he's been looking into these structures, seeing how they say that they form a little bit more in detail. And well, you want to lead on on yourself, bro?
You guys are talking about I don't know why you invited me either, but I assume you're talking about
the trees.
Yeah, the trees. No forest on flat Earth's video. I mean, I only watched it one time, and off the top, like, I wrapped my head around like half the video, but like when he started getting into like the Earth is being mined and has been being mined, like, I mean, I understand what he's saying, but I don't necessarily just believe it right off the bat. But it is fun to look into, and I like the stump thing is awesome. I mean, especially even if none of it's true, it's awesome to look at everything upside down and all over the place, you know, and not just believe what you've always believed.
Right.
What I've been looking into mostly is just how the Earth works from the flat Earth, and I've been trying to make a I mean, I'm not a specialist in anything, and I'm a water plant operator. I'm here at work, guys. And I've been trying to make a free energy project for like 6 years now, and now that I've come across flat Earth and how much sense it makes, and how the electricity through our flat Earth works, I'm trying to piece that into my free energy. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What are you guys talking about? Get going with keep talking about it, and I'll ask to come in when I'm
brother. That electric universe theory, you're on the right track. I'm not saying that electric universe there's an expansive space in this universe, but you are definitely on the right track. You stick with that, brother, and go a bit deeper. Watch electric universe theory on YouTube, and then just forget the globe bit, right? And then link that to flat Earth and have a think about it. Okay, you're on the right track.
Yeah, what we were talking about, Brad, was the division in the flat Earth that this mountain tree thing is created. How we don't need to have division. How people can look into it if they want, not look into it if they want. When conclusions are arrived at, people can present them. People can accept or reject them. There's no force. There's interesting things in this world. Sure, Mount Rushmore. I mean, we've got evidence there of what wind formation can create, right? But to think that wind doesn't create formations, it was a joke, guys. Mount Rushmore was carved. It's those precedence faces. This is for the UK people. So in Mount Rushmore, you have these carvings on the side of the mountain on a cliff of these various different precedents, is it? That was carved by artisans. It's cool. I would have put the signature at the bottom if it was me. But wind can form shapes, that's for sure.
You ran out of money, left it for years, and he had to come back years later. There was only 2 presidents for a number of years. He ran out of money, nobody would fund him. It's quite an interesting story if you follow it on YouTube. Mount Rushmore, yeah. He was a bit of an entrepreneur, fascinating character. He just had this thing, I'm going to just put these presidents, Lincoln, Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Washington. Cracking. I'd love to see it.
I've just had an idea that's my idea and nobody else is allowed to do it, and it's my idea. I'm going to go to a mountain and I'm going to carve it into the stump of a tree. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. All right.
On that note, is there any other pertinent points that the panel wanted to get in before we round out this show?
I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you guys said it or not yet, but thing that kind of, I don't know, I didn't really like about that video was he put Flat Earth in the title, and then all he really said about Flat Earth was, if you're Flat Earth, you're half awake. Yeah. He didn't say how it was entwined and how the two stories came together. He did, he obviously made a whole bunch of more questions, but I think it groups us to something that we don't really know anything about. So then, if someone who isn't in Flat Earth, or the mainstream media says, "Oh, well, look at this is what Flat Earthers believe," and this is all, or there's geologists might be able to disprove it, and then they can just say, "Oh, look, they're freaking idiots and don't believe anything they say."
Yeah. And one thing, you spent some time in the Middle East, and in that video it said that a lot of it was actually strip mined, just like big barren wastes of strip mine quarries. And do you agree with that?
No.
in the video, I think he showed like some sand dune pictures and stuff. All pretty much everywhere I was in the Middle East, it was as in Afghanistan and in Israel and in Algeria. It's all just like I don't know what the word is, but like, you know, in America we have different areas. You have a mountainous area, you have a little, you know, jungle-ish area, you have a desert area, and it's the same in Afghanistan, it's the same in Algeria, the same in even Israel, in that small country. So I didn't see any just, you know, straight, you know, piles of sand, stripped out wastelands. But if there are, where's all the value they got from strip mining? Is it they're saying aliens took it up somewhere? I mean, you got like a couple of pillars and a couple of, you know, nice buildings, but I don't see that part of the video.
Right. And I think recently David was saying that there were actually giants in Afghanistan. You see any giants?
No, but you know, I'm not a geologist. It might be in the ground.
Oh, okay. No, I'm pretty sure he was saying there's alive ones walking around.
Oh, that'd be pretty awesome too.
So no giants.
No.
That you saw? Okay.
Yeah, I remember what you were talking about, what you're mentioning, Stephen. David Weiss was saying that at some point there'd been a mission to capture some giants by some military force, to capture some live giants in Afghanistan. I've never heard of this, but is it just a bullshit story? Is it true? Is it mistranslations? Who knows? You know, maybe there's a team there called the Giants.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to just read out this little bit so you can all see it. It's on screen. I won't read all of it. But the last sentence says, "This is a message. This message is to all people, comma, and for flat earthers in general, use it wise."
Yes.
So it's targeted to flat earthers. There's no two ways about it, in my view.
Yes, but also to all people. So.
Well, then why specifically include flat earthers at all? I mean, the title of it. I mean, I got into this. Somebody said, "Oh no, somebody had confused David's title," and David Weiss has obviously spotted this because he retitled it and didn't put flat Earth in the title when he did the English dub. And it was just "There are no forests on Earth." And someone said, "Oh, the original upload was called There's No Forests on Earth." And I was like, no. The original title was There Are No Forests, all in lowercase, on uppercase F, flat Earth, uppercase E, and then Wake Up, not in capitals, in uppercase as well. So There Are No Forests on flat Earth, Wake Up was the title of the video. And then in the very first frame, this message is to all people, okay, and for flat earthers in general. Right, okay. Well, what specifically in it are you pointing us towards the flat Earth with? Well, very little. In fact, most of it leads you along lots of heliocentric paths and evolutionary paths that bring you back into old shite, basically, as far as I'm concerned.
I've never really researched it that much, but is he a flat earther himself? Does he claim to be a flat earther, or is he, you know what I mean? Like, is he a person that promotes flat Earth? The guy who did that video?
Last night, he's no flat earther. I'm telling you, we had another guy on there from Norway as well. They were together, and honest to God, if you listen to it, it was really hard for me to listen to. And I stated, I said, this is really hard for me to listen to. And Ronnie Event said, well, if you don't like it, fucking bounce, like, you know, not welcome. But I wasn't welcome there anyway. But you know, I stuck my nose in just to be polite. But I just insult. You know, just laugh. And we don't laugh. We just, personally, I just come to spread love. And the message is that we've all changed. We've got a paradigm shift. We gotta know what we're doing. We gotta know the director and our abilities and get to our inner abilities and unleash them. That's what's more important. Bust this flat Earth shit. Because I'm telling you what, it can't go on like this. People are getting really confused. We need to focus together, all of us. You know, I'm not saying don't fucking investigate your really good fucking theory. Go and do whatever. It's your business. You know, whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you through the night. You know, whatever turns you on. It's fucking ace. But I just got to give my personal opinion. I think it's distracting too much. It's really damaging to the flat Earth community. Division. Where have we 2 weeks ago, everything is just trouble constantly. And, you know, it's just, why can't people just see through that and think, okay, you know, just spread the love, get on that bus, get that spirit, because we had a special spirit. When we all went to Oxford, right, for the meet, that spirit, you know, when we were all together, was fucking phenomenal. I can't explain it, you know. I just love that buzz. And I've been around 49 years. I met a million people. I never had a buzz like that. Everyone thinking the same as me. It was so beautiful. And, you know, if everyone can just stick together, yeah, everyone agree that I was there. It's just phenomenal. The feelings. And I just want everyone to get back on that spirit together and just feel it together, the love. And why everyone wants to be ugly and nasty and bitter and, you know, divisive and fucking condescending a lot of the time. I don't know why people are like this. I don't understand the mentality, the psychology behind this. What you get to is the fundamentals. The bottom line is it's flat. It's flat.
I put that in the description for this video. So I put the Earth is flat. All belief systems welcome.
Yeah. Exactamundo. I'm not discrediting. I'm just saying, guys, honestly, like, whatever floats your boat, go with it. I don't want to discredit it. Go, good luck to you. God love you. But it's just me. I think it's fucking dangerous, the flat Earth, is what I think. When the first time I seen it, I'd seen everyone. I couldn't believe the people were that. I don't want to insult no one. I love you all, but I'm just saying I don't think people are that gullible to just buy that fucking garbage, you know. Well, I'll just come along tomorrow and say, fucking hell, there's fairies, man. They're fucking round you all the time and shadow people. I see them at night. I'll fucking get everyone believing it. No problem whatsoever. But I don't bother with that shit, you know. So this guy, the Yanni is fucking spinning. It's just, he's fucking Hans Christian Andersen, guys.
Well, Flat Earth Math left a comment, and his comment was, I'd have to paraphrase it, but basically what he was saying was, it makes us seem like we just look at how things appear and then draw our conclusions.
Exactly.
And I'm going to, read between the lines that he was saying that we will be tarred with that brush of flat Earth. Oh, those flat earthers, they just see it as though it's flat, but they don't really understand the bigger picture. And that's how we can be painted if we give too much credence to this no forests on flat Earth video.
So I have an idea. If the guy released it in order to mess up the impact that flat Earth was having on astrophysicists, which is true, okay, we are having an impact on astrophysicists. They are scrabbling. If that was the case, it hasn't worked. All that's happened is some flat earthers will go and investigate all this tree stuff. That's all that's happened, and this will just go into the past. The whole flat earth, trees, no forest, all of that, it would just be water under the bridge. We'll get to the next point. But to be honest, I'm glad that people start questioning geology. Why should that not fall within the remit of scrutiny? Let's see, because let's face it, they do tell us this layer of rock is 60 million years old. Why? Because the crustaceans found there petrified, and those crustaceans were around in the age of dinosaurs, and they're 60 million years old. How do you know they're 60 million years old? Because the rock they're in is 60 million years old. So now, that doesn't work. So let's start scrutinizing geology too. Why not? It's a science. So let's start
to the core. We've got the Earth being struck by, is it Theia, and this debris then coalesces, defying gravity above us and forming the moon, and that leaves us with an oversized iron core, which is still not cooled, and that creates our magnetic fields. Well, that sounds like a big old list of bullshit, and it is. When you tie them down to how do they actually know this, what is their justifiable reason when we know damn well they've only gone down 12 kilometers? Well, it's an educated guess.
The Curry-Weiss law says that any metal over 1,000 degrees temperature would be demagnetized.
Exactly. Exactly. What Joey just said is totally true. I showed a clip with David Weiss.
Yeah.
I showed a clip of a piece of iron, which is obviously magnetic. It's freaking iron. Okay, if you don't know that iron can be magnetized to a magnet, put in a coil that has spinning electric magnetic waves, superheating and dropping. At the point that it's superheated, it has lost its magnetic permeability. It's gone. It is no longer something that can be magnetized. Okay? Now, if the Earth's core is at that temperature that they tell us, then it is not magnetized. It cannot have magnetic waves that go out and create the poles and the atmosphere. No, if it's that hot, it can't have that effect. End of story for the globe.
It's based on a heliocentric assumption, and they will define it as an educated guess. That's what they will. That's the official line. It's an educated guess. What's below?
Yes, but it's more like an uneducated guess, because they say it's iron. It's an iron core. Okay, well you've got people that work with metallurgy. They're a chemist. They're electromagnetics specialists who would say no. If it was iron, it wouldn't be magnetic.
The scientific law, that's how they magnetize and demagnetize their own equipment. Just to demagnetize it, they put it in their Curie Weiss, which does like some kind of voltage immediately. It rises above that temperature. Nothing on Earth that we know of can be magnetized at or above 1,000 degrees at all. So and they say the same temperature as the surface of the sun. No way.
So being in Hawaii, Joey, what can you tell us about volcanoes in general and how they form, or is that not something that you've looked at while you've been living there?
Oh, I love that topic. So there's a lot of people that talk about the volcanoes being a hoax, the way they erupt. The way they erupt, I definitely agree. You can walk through lava tubes, dormant ones. It's like pimples on your skin. You know, they just form in certain areas and they just ooze out. That's all they do is they constantly ooze and grow land. That's about as much as I can tell you on that, Nathan.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, you're there firsthand. It's always worth asking these questions to somebody who pretty much can walk out their front door and walk on a lava flow.
It's amazing. I'm not from Hawaii, so I think I play tourist. I've been here for 16 years, but I think I play tourist more than most people do because it's just like if you came out here for the first time, you know, you'd be running and checking everything out, but people who are born and raised here, you know, it's kind of normal to them. So I love exploring and checking out, especially being a flat earther now. It's like, sky's the limit.
I often wonder what it would be like for Robert if Robert went to Antarctica now. If what the time he spent in Antarctica, if he was due to go there at the end of this summer, oh man, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
I think he would be taking footage of this kind of stuff. The technology's better now, so I fantasize about that in a straight, not homosexual way.
Well, what I've got
I don't know if anybody's a big David Icahn. I'm not a big David Icahn, but anyways, he was interviewing this lady from Australia, these Aboriginals, and they were saying this speech about how 2015 is the year that of the awakening, where everyone wakes up. I don't know if anybody caught that, but it was inspirational to hear it because all these Aboriginal people were calling us the plastic society, and they're saying that you know, we're about to open our eyes. Everyone's waking up. It's not I think the flat earthers like you guys that all figure this stuff out, maybe you're just like the first wave, but everybody is waking up, and to hear that the Aboriginal elders talking about the awakening in 2015, I'm like, makes sense to me.
Robert, while we've got you here, now that you are a flat earther, we may as well ask you that very question. So if you were to go back to Antarctica, what would you do that you didn't do not being a flat earther?
I'll try and get to the South Pole and beyond. That's what I try. Yeah, that's what I do. Search for extra land. Look for anything anomalies and make notes and that type of thing. Yeah, I'd have done a lot more research. And I'd been on the mark with it all, but yeah, it's...
Robert, I don't know if this is naive thinking, but it seems like it would be, if you got your body used to the temperature and everything, it wouldn't be that hard to live there, it seems like, because the fresh water, and then you can just dig holes in the snow, right, to make a cavity to where it's insulated, and because it's the wind, the cold wind that usually freezes you. It seems like it would be habitable there. You know, it'd be almost perfect conditions if you could adapt to it.
Yeah, apart from no vegetables or fruit or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Never mind.
Right. Well, let's round up. Was there any? I'm going to turn all your cameras on so you can all be seen. If there's anything else anyone wants to add, I'll give you the opportunity now.
Final words. I don't want to be offending anyone. Like Nathan says and everyone else says, you know, just go with the flow. Basically, do your own thing. Go with your own feelings. Go with your heart on this. My priority is flat Earth. Flat Earth is a reality, and it's very, very important. It's a changing reality. It's a changing future, and we got to do it right, guys. And this shit's not good. So that's my last statement. And I love everyone in the FE. I don't want to offend everyone, even the people who laugh and dish us or whatever. You know, I mean it, all of them. Okay, God bless you all.
Pleasure, Martin. Thank you very much for joining us on this panel tonight. Robert Shortman,
thanks for inviting me, Nathan. Real pleasure.
It's a pleasure, Martin. Was there anything you wanted to add as well, Robert Shortman? We'll go down the line.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. And Stephen Chess, was there any last remarks? If not, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, no problem. Good seeing you, man.
No final remarks, if I can get my tongue around it.
No, I'm good.
Brilliant. Antonio, I know you're itching to say something.
I find that very offensive, and I wasn't going to say anything. No, I was going to say, just this is as a personal note, lots of people out there have been supporting me whilst all this shit has been going on with a stupid prank that some pals pulled, and I really appreciate that. Some people wavered and thought, what the fuck is this? Which I thought too when I first saw it, and that's totally understandable. So on a personal note, my gratitude to people who thought, wait a minute, I'm not going to come to any conclusion until I see what the hell's going on with this. And I would urge people to do the same kind of thing with whether these are rocks or or wood. You know, think, what the hell is this? I don't know. I'm going to wait until, you know, I've come to, you know, until more is found out about this. Same kind of thing.
Antonio, I saw about 20 seconds of that video. I'm smart enough to be able to catch on immediately to where I don't even want to see how ridiculous it is. And that was it. That was you don't need to research everything, guys. Sometimes you can just be like, yeah, okay, I got it.
That's it.
Well, God bless you, brother.
That's it.
I'm not going to watch it.
No, I watched when it was passed to me. I watched.
I would watch it if I was you, because it was. I understand that, but.
But no, wait. I watched. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 seconds. Was sickened and stopped watching it. And I thought, oof. I knew who'd done it, of course, but yeah, we had conversations on the phone, stern conversations.
Let me tell you what this reminds me of so much. My good friend, his name is Captain Paul. He's a Korean gentleman who works with me in the transportation business, and he's on Facebook, and he got one of those pornography things on his front page. Somebody spammed him or whatever. He was so humiliated, embarrassed, he was going to turn off Facebook and everything. I said, Captain Paul, everyone knows that someone did that to you. You're not the bad. It's like the victim doesn't have to be the guilty.
Yeah, can I just say, that Glenn McIntosh is a motherfucker. All right, a motherfucker.
Guys,
like in one bit. Bit.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Antonio. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Let me just say this. This was a prank that they were doing on me. It was unfortunate because it was a bit too aggressive. Okay, if they had taken certain pieces off, the more aggressive, like the sexual things, I might have found it funny, but it was a joke. They were doing it as a joke, and they thought that I would see it as a joke.
That's all it was. Yeah. People joke around, and people get their feelings hurt, and you know you can't take it.
I don't get my feelings hurt. I just pissed off. Like, you know, if you live around the corner, I'd be kicking his fucking door in. I don't have that.
I know, Martin. It's true. Okay. There's an element to it, which is this. Nathan has pointed this out, and I can see Nathan smiling because he knows what I'm going to say. Okay, which is this. Every time we've had arguments about globe versus flat, they've lost. And when the apology explanation video came out, he says, Antonio did this. You know, personally, I wouldn't have fallen for it. And he carries on, which is like, aha, I'm better than him. It's like, no, dude.
Digging the flat earth, though. It was like a dig of the flat earthers as well.
Yes.
You know, he rounded off with fucking attacking us. It's just.
Well, what does that show you, Martin? It shows you that even in, you know, he's had his wife tell him off. He's had Antonio get a bit upset. It
A
suddenly
week of
caused
shit.
a rift in the flat Earth, and he still used his apology video as an opportunity to knock flat Earth. What does that tell you about Globalings?
I can't even say on air. All right.
Any news is good news.
Yeah, but
Well,
the
God
thing
bless
is,
you anyway, and to say, oh, sorry about all the week's events, right? I've supported you in your. I'm sure you felt it.
yeah, of course I have. But what I'm saying is, you know, I mean, this is freaking nothing. It's not going to make the world start spinning.
Fuck
This
no.
is the thing. It doesn't matter, you know. It's like, for instance, let's say a prominent member of the Flat Earth was run over and killed without any crime, an actual accident, okay? Let's say that happened. That wouldn't make the world start spinning. Doesn't mean it's not significant. Of course it is. But we have to consider things on a wider scope. There's nothing that will make the world start spinning. This is the situation we're in. So no matter what gets thrown at us, be it mountain trees, be it freaking fairies in the forest, be it freaking unicorns with wings, it doesn't matter what gets thrown at us. It's not going to make the world round and start spinning. So we can all relax a bit. And I understand Jesse's thought.
It's inevitable that we're not going to start guessing. It's inevitable that we're not going to want to, you know, think all kinds of stuff, because now we know it's an open floor, it's an open table, and we kind of are taking it upon ourselves to be our own Patricia Steers or our own, you know, whoever's, and just go out there and like find the new thing. And hey, more power to them. But what Martin said is absolutely correct. The people that are flat earthers and know the implications, yeah, keep focused.
Yes,
keep the unity.
Superb. Right. So, Stephen, what was your friend's name? Was it Richard?
Brett.
Brett, sorry. Well, Brett and Jonathan have dropped, so unfortunately I can't say thank you to them personally, but thank you to them for being here. And to Stephen, Robert, Martin, Antonio, and last of all,
Patricia.
Joey. And Patricia, who's been sat in the background. And as always,
Give a little kiss for us and Paula, please, Nathan.
I shall do as soon as I've rounded out this show, Martin. So
God bless
yes,
them.
thank you once again to all of you who have joined us live in the chat. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.
Yay.